the mortuary cult of Lamia cut all its ties with the priests of other cities and began a reformation of its principles, encouraging female priests to join, which was previously absolutely haram. The temple was rebuilt using stones taken from buildings of Khemri destroyed in Nagash's defeat, and the chambers of the temple glittered with gold and were decorated with statues and hieroglyphs telling the story of his rise to power. It became the Temple of Blood. The cults of the other gods found themselves falling out of favor, struggling to be heard at court, and many of these priests left. Neferatum invited her cousin Khalida Neferher, the warrior queen of Liberas, to join her cult. Khalida rejected her offer, suspicious of the changes going on in Lamia and devout in her worship of Asaf, the asp goddess. Worried that Khalida knew her secret, Neferatum accused her cousin of treason and attempted to assassinate her during a feast, drawing her into a duel before the nobles of the Lamian court. Neferatum's vampiric strength gave her victory, and whilst Khalida lay dying, the vampire bit her own tongue and kissed her cousin, transferring her curse. Devout Khalida prayed as she died, and her prayer was answered. Asaf drew the taint out of her blood and replaced it with poison, granting Khalida a holy death. It is said that although her death was holy, it was not complete, and Khalida lived on as the eternal guardian of Asaf's temple. Neferatum, thwarted in her attempt to gain a powerful ally, cast the remaining priests of the other gods out of Lamia. During this period of change, Neferatum had been secretly feeding on the populace of her city, arousing the suspicion of Aborash, the love-struck captain of her guards. Aborash was horrified to discover his love's true nature, but he could not long resist her commands. He drank of the elixir of life at her bidding, and as his nature changed, so too did his protests. Neferatum and Wasoran spread their curse to many of the Lamian court this way, including Chief Judge Matmesis and the court vizier Harakte. So began her deathless court, the trueborns who would be the masters of the lesser vampires that they created. Aborash still felt twinges of his goodness from life, and created a set of rules for the trueborn to follow, ostensibly as a way of protecting themselves from discovery. They would only prey on criminals and slaves, not ordinary citizens, from then on. So they were forbidden from feuding amongst themselves, and no trueborn could kill another. Thus, when Neferatum's brother Ushoran learned of the elixir and stole a draught of it for himself, she could not punish him, and Ushoran, the lowly lord of masks, was permitted to join the deathless court. Under its ageless queen, Lamia became a city known for its religious intolerance and the harshness of its laws. Agents of the other cities began stirring up rebellion, horrified by the spread of the cult of blood and its veneration of Nagash, the great heretic. When the insurrection came, it was more brutally destroyed by Neferatum than the previous rebellion, earning her the name Neferata, meaning beautiful death. It could be explained that it is Aborash's natural codes of honor that made him form the Blood Dragons, the disciplined warriors attempting to drink the blood of the dragon in order to stop the craving of human blood. Some of the greatest of this order of vampires were turned into vampires by Aborash himself, such as the Red Duke, the Scourge of Aquitaine as he is known. In great sorrow, Khalida was borne back to Liberas. The priests and priestesses of the Asp goddess undertook the burial of the queen, for they recognized that the blessing of their divine mistress was upon her, even in death. Khalida was embalmed and placed in a seated position within a specially made reliquary within the temple of the blessed Asp in Liberas. There she sits unmoving, her face concealed behind a beautiful death mask created in her likeness. In times of dire need, when her homeland is threatened, the power of the Asp goddess infuses her ancient limbs. Gracefully she rises from her seated position and glides across the temple floor, commanding the doors to open with a delicate motion of her hand. Her flesh slowly starts to return to its former beauty, gradually becoming as pale and hard, as pristine as white marble. Her famed archer legions, buried in vast tomb pits beside the temple, arise at her bidding, marching alongside their immortal warrior queen as they did in life, bringing death to those that intrude upon her realm. As the embodiment of the Asp goddess in full fury, a wave of pure terror rolls over those who dare to look upon her. With divine energy flowing through her limbs, Queen Khalida brings war and death to any who threaten her realm in the greater lands of Nehekhara. Venom runs in Khalida's veins, and she moves with the speed of a striking asp. Only when all her foes lie dead at her feet does she lead her legions back to Liberas and sit upon her throne as queen once more. However, though Khalida sleeps, her soul is troubled. Deep within the High Queen burns a loathing for those tainted by Nagash's vile sorcery, and only when she finally kills her treacherous cousin and her whole vile race, she will finally know true peace.
You feel me? Let's go swimming.